So one of the common questions that we get asked is every day is, should I invest where I live, or where should I be investing more generally? And it's such a great question, because if we think about that, the things that hold investors back um, from making smart decisions and building a portfolio, right? It's where they invest, and it's the locations that they choose their investment properties to be. Let's take a look at a couple of simple numbers. Firstly, we know that only 10% or thereabouts of the Australian population actually invest in property to start with. Would you believe a massive 70% of those, however, buy in the same postcode they live in? When we think about it, it makes perfect sense why, right? Most people are motivated to improve their financial situation. They want to invest in property. They're full of motivation. They're not sure on what strategy or process to implement. They probably haven't thought about their end goal, but they go, property's good, and I can keep an eye on it if it's around the corner from where I live, so that seems like a pretty safe bet. We see it all the time, but what it means is that people get stuck on that one property and aren't able to duplicate to be able to build a portfolio of multiple properties. At the end of the day, if I was to say to you, look, whether it's something financial or something else, are you going to get the best result if you put all of your eggs into the one basket? We all know that the answer is no. Okay, you need to be super lucky that the suburb that you live in is an amazing performer if you're going to grow your family wealth through your own home, creating equity, and you're going to see equity growth in your investment as well. You've also got to consider the cash flow constraints. Typically, where people prefer to live and where makes sense from an investment perspective are not the same location. So what that will mean for you is that you're going to have an investment property that's not bringing in a really solid rental yield. It's not maximizing your tax benefits. It's increasing things like maintenance risk and cost to acquire, acquisition costs. All of those things mean that it can be really expensive to hold, and it can not only limit the lifestyle that you can live while you're growing a portfolio, but also your ability to add a second, third, fourth, and fifth, perhaps, property into the portfolio as well. So it's a really, really key one. I say to people on a daily basis, if you drive past your investment property, does it go up in value any quicker? Of course not, right? But why people are used to investing in their own suburb is because that's what we've been taught from people that did it years prior. Why did they do it? Because the number one thing they were concerned about is how do they pay the mortgage on the investment property. You need the rent coming in on a weekly basis to be able to do that. And if they could drive past the property and see the lights on in the front yard, they knew they were going to be getting their rent that Thursday. Simple as that. Let's think on a larger scale. Why does it make more sense to diversify away from where we live? Well, if you think about any capital city market, in a 10-year window, there's probably 4 years, give or take, where the growth is really, really strong. Then there's a period of plateau and stagnation before it starts to grow again. If you're really smart and invest in the best location at that point in time, chances are you can see uplift in the first 1, 2, 3 years that you hold that property. And what that allows you to do is to take that growth that you've made in the form of the equity, take it out and cover the deposit and costs for another investment. And guess where you're buying that one? At the best location at that point in time. And then you do the same thing over and over and over again. So if you're smart about diversifying your portfolio into the best location at any point in time, you might be able to acquire 4 properties or 5 properties within a 10-year window. I've done it. Plenty of our clients have done it, as opposed to having all of your eggs in one basket and only seeing one lot of growth in a 10-year period. That means you can get to your goals faster. You can start to see a higher financial return. You can start to get more lots of rent and more lots of tax benefits coming in, and start to see the fruits of your labor much earlier than if you're just sticking to the capital city that you live in, and specifically the suburb in close proximity to where you live. Okay, so that's really the key part to take away. At any point in time, there are great places to be investing. Chances are they may not be where you live. They might be interstate, they might be in different parts of Australia, they might be in different parts of the capital city that you live in. All of these permutations mean that if you're taking an objective view to where you invest, based on a proven set of criteria, you're much more likely to maximize the returns that you get. and acquire the portfolio you need in a much shorter time frame, meaning you can achieve your goals in a much shorter time frame and start to be living the life that you want.